Welcome to season 2 of Snubs and Dubs. We're talking the snubs and dubs of the 87th Academy Awards for Best Picture. I'm your host, Kyle Tobiasson, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jason Miller. Jason, welcome to season 2.
Oh my God. Kyle, I want to give you huge kudos. You got it right on the first try. It is season 2, and it is the 87th Academy Awards. I'm very impressed.
I definitely didn't practice that in the car at any point. Because like after 25 episodes, it's like ingrained in there. Like I had trouble getting away from like before we even did the seasons, my original take of the intro, just like it just gets into your head and I nailed it.
Yeah, half a year gone. Now we're on to the next one. Well done.
So this is actually coming out on Valentine's Day.
Aww.
So happy Valentine's Day. We're giving you a lovely, lovely, beautiful film about a sociopath.
Now, this is as romantic as it gets.
Yeah.
It's one man and his love for violence and carnage. And really, what else is love? Other than that.
Speaking of carnage,
hey,
a couple weeks ago you were having some troubles with your car, but we kept pushing it off and forgetting about you telling me, and I've been still so interested. So what happened to your car?
So I was driving my girlfriend and I to my parents' house for Sunday dinner and games, as we do quite frequently. And as I'm driving to my parents' place, all of a sudden all the lights on my car fire up and the power steering gives out. And everything locks up. So I'm able to luckily coast it onto like a little side road that happened to be right when my car self-combusted. And then threw it into park. It wouldn't start up. Like the ignition would turn, but nothing would catch. But it was just like, it was sitting there, couldn't move. Was like, damn it. So call a tow truck, get them to tow it to a mechanic that was pretty close by. I had to spend like $100 on that. And then luckily my parents just like picked us up, had dinner. It was lovely. They drove me home after. And then I'm just sitting there wondering, like, what happened to my car? Like, it's an old car.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that nothing like this has happened before because it's pushing like 250K and it's no problems ever before.
Yeah.
So I get a call from the mechanic on Tuesday. Monday, they didn't get a chance to look at it, but I had the day off in case I needed to go do something with the car. So I just had a day off. That was actually kind of nice.
Chill.
And then Tuesday, while I'm at work, I get a call from the mechanics. And they're like, well, figured out the problem. We put a little gas in the car.
Thank you for slipping that in. I appreciate that.
So the only thing that's broken with my car is the fuel gauge doesn't read properly.
Wait, was that actually the problem?
Yep.
I thought you were just coding Sling Blade.
Nope.
Oh my God.
They put some gas in the car.
No fucking way. No fucking way. Oh no. I even sent you a TikTok that was about the fucking...
So this is karmic justice for the amount of shit talking that I did of Sling Blade in season 1.
Jeez.
So yeah, like literally the only thing that was wrong with my car was the fuel gauge isn't reading right. And it said I still had a quarter tank when I was out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I had no idea that it was just I ran out of gas. It didn't feel like that, but I've also never ran out of gas before.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what that felt like.
That's so funny.
So
I literally thought you were like joking for a second.
Nope. Nope. That was what happened.
The mechanic.
So beautiful.
You should have given the mechanic our copy of Sling Blade. That we have.
No, I want to thank him for his work.
But now every time that somebody comes in with no gas in their car, they could go on the phone and just be like, "It ain't got no gas in it."
So
that's great.
Yeah, that was my car. So that one tank of gas cost me $250 total because I had to tow it, pay for the gas, and half an hour of mechanic work for them to put some gas in the tank. For them to put some gas in it.
Oh my God. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a good story. And
Thank you.
Relevant to our podcast.
What a tie-in. Well, how about you, Kyle? How you been?
Yeah, I've been good. I didn't do much watching of anything in the last week because I was kind of into one particular anime.
Oh,
which is strange for me because I haven't really like been able to get through many animes. But Molly's been on this anime kick, and so she was like, "Oh, we got to watch this one anime." And so I was like, "Okay." So I watched the first couple episodes, and I really enjoyed it. The next 2 days, I watched the remaining 25 episodes.
Classic.
It's called My Love Story. It's basically like a romantic comedy about these two high schoolers. One is just this absolutely hulking man. He's like 16 years old, but he's like fucking like 7 foot tall and just like 500 pounds. He's meant to be like comically large.
Yeah. Kingpin style kind of thing.
And of course, the girl that he ends up interested in is like comically small, like just like very petite anime teenager. But like it's kind of about just them falling in love, and like the big guy's self-conscious because he's best friends with this guy who's like the most handsome guy on the planet. And so he thinks that all the girls are always interested in him, which is usually the case. But then all of a sudden, like once he helps his love interest, she just kind of falls in love with him. And it's really sweet.
Aw.
It does kind of like start to dwindle after a while because like they're so cute about things wherein like they don't say things to each other because they're embarrassed or they like barely kiss because they don't want to like be like too pushy or anything. But that like continues throughout the whole series. So you'd think that like you'd get to a point where they get to be kind of comfortable with each other. Maybe they can help other people with other problems, but then they can be kind of still like strong and show people how much like love they have. But no, it just kind of keeps the same sort of thing for a while. And I kind of lost interest in the last bit.
Yeah.
But overall, still really sweet.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's still also a good run for an anime too.
Yeah.
That's a number of episodes. So.
And to keep my interest for 25 episodes was pretty good for an anime.
There you go.
I also watched the first 3 episodes of Pam and Tommy.
I've never heard of that. What is that?
It's on Disney Plus here, but it's like a Hulu exclusive in the States. It's basically about the sex tape of Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee.
Oh.
And like how that got out and the whole situation regarding that. And so they released the first 3 episodes and it's pretty good so far.
Tight.
There's a lot of penis and a lot of boobies.
Nice. That's what I look for in my television.
Yeah, there is slight spoilers, but there's like a scene where Sebastian Stan literally speaks to his penis.
Aw. Well, you got to give him pep talks from time to time. Are you saying that's a weird thing to do, Kyle?
Well, it speaks back, so it's a bit weird.
Okay, that's like an imaginary friend scenario. You can speak to him, but they shouldn't be speaking back. Yeah. Something's wrong.
There's one scene, though, I don't know why I liked it so much. Maybe it's because I like Sebastian Stan a lot. But like they're on a plane and they're talking about what kind of things they like. He asks what kind of food Pamela Anderson likes, and she's like, oh, I like French fries. And he does this line, and it's all in the delivery. But he's like, I fucking love French fries. And I don't know what it was, but it just fucking hit me so hard. I loved it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, check it out.
Yeah. Got good French fry and penis content.
What about you? Do you watch anything?
I watched one movie. That was all I got up to. I watched Soul.
Oh, nice. Had you seen it before?
I'd never seen it before.
Oh, yeah.
It was good. I thought it had more potential than it maybe delivered. It kind of like the storytelling kind of fell short, but I really liked what they had for their idea of the world they live in. I thought their view on the afterlife and souls is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I liked the main character. I just wish it was like kind of a stronger story. I don't even really need to get into spoilers too much. It's kind of recent anyway, so I won't spoil it.
It's like a year old now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, well. Yeah, I just feel like a lot of the motivations for going places was kind of like MacGuffin-y, where they're just going to run around. And I wish there was more behind it than that.
Yeah, I found that too when I watched it. Like everyone was kind of raving about it so much. And I just kind of felt like it was obviously good. And the animation is beautiful.
Oh, gorgeous.
Just gorgeous. And the score is really good too. But like, yeah, the whole plot just kind of felt, I mean, basic in a sense, but also it's very abstract.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, something about it. I kind of felt the same way, I think.
But overall, it's good and I'd recommend. It is a really sweet movie.
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous. Like if nothing else, the visuals are worth it on its own, but it still also has like a cool world around that as well.
Yeah. Cool. Well, before we get into it, I kind of wanted to talk about how when I was building this season, I've been going back and forth so much with so many different films because like at first I would see a film and it was like, oh, this is a 2014 film. Everywhere it shows, it says it's a 2014 film. But then you look into it a little bit and it like came out in 2014, but it's not actually eligible for the Academy Awards because it didn't screen in an LA theater for at least 1 week until 2015. And so that's the case with like It Follows. Everywhere you look, It Follows is a 2014 film, but like it was eligible for the next year of Academy Awards. So we were not able to talk about it.
Yeah, which is too bad.
Yeah. But then there's other cases in which there's films that came out this year, but they were international films and then weren't submitted for the best international feature. And so then they missed out on eligibility. But in that case, we've kind of decided that we are going to sneak them in.
Yeah,
and
that one seems fine to me because it's like, I'm assuming if it wasn't eligible in that, you're like, they weren't coming back to it in a future year either. So I feel like that one's fair. But if something's like up for contention in 2015, then that's a different story.
Yeah. And there was a weird sort of bit of like gray area for eligibility with Denis Villeneuve's Enemy. And like everywhere you look, it says a 2013 film, but I know a lot of people, including myself, watched it in 2014 because that's when it kind of went wide. But I couldn't really figure out the specifics of it. And like when I looked online at the Academy's documents that show which films were eligible for awards in that year, like I couldn't find it. So unfortunately, we're not going to talk about that one, or It Follows, because It Follows is a next time your time of thing. But I won't give away the ones that we are going to talk about because those ones are actually pretty baller.
Nice.
As is this entire year, to be honest.
This is honestly a pretty hot year.
Yeah. We're going to get to the end and people are going to be like, how did you not talk about this and this and this? And I'll be like, yeah, I know. How did we not talk about that? But it's because we're limiting ourselves to 25 episodes. But we're going to get started because season 2 has to begin. We're already 10 minutes into this episode.
So I hope so.
Yeah. And we got to get going. So season 2 of Snubs and Dubs is covering the films of the year 2014. And so for episode 1, we're talking about Nightcrawler. Had you seen it before?
I have seen it before.
Nice.
I believe in theaters as well. Have you seen it before?
I had seen it before, also in theaters and also at home.
Oh.
I'd seen this a couple times.
Yeah, I only seen it the one time, but I did remember most of what happened.
Because this is one that like really stuck with me when I watched it because it is just so atmospheric and I mean, we'll get into it, but fuck Jake Gyllenhaal.
Creepy motherfucker.
God damn.
Oh my God.
What a performance.
He had like salamander eyes when they're just too big for his own head and unblinking. And he just, I'm sure between scenes, he used his tongue to moisten them for the next scene because he doesn't know how to blink. But he's creepy.
Yeah.
Such a good performance.
Yeah, it's really good. When was the last time you watched it?
I think just when it came out.
Me too, yeah.
So it would have been a while ago.
I think I watched it in 2014 and 2015.
Yeah.
But that was like when I saw it in theaters and then when I got the Blu-ray. And that was basically it. I haven't seen it since then, but I was very happy to revisit this one.
I was really looking forward to this one. Like right away, episode 1, I was excited to watch the movie.
I think that was almost accidental. Like I was trying to pick like the best sort of starting one. And the reason that I picked Independence Day for the last years was because it was the biggest film of 1996. The biggest film of 2014 is fucking like Transformers Age of Extinction. And we're not going to talk about that.
God damn it.
So like I just kind of had to pick one that was going to be interesting enough. And this was the one that we landed on. So.
And I think it's a good call because there is widely considered to be some snubbing going on in this movie.
Oh yeah, I think this is one that's going to be talked about in the finale, and like we're here right now. So, all right. Well, if you were interested in Nightcrawler, I've included the links to the physical media related to it in the show notes. If you buy through that link, it'll help out our show. Or if you have any other Amazon shopping to do, follow our general link to help out our show in the process. A reminder, this is going to be a spoiler-filled conversation, so if you haven't seen Nightcrawler yet and you want to, go ahead and do so. It's on Netflix. But without further ado, let's get into it.
Los Angeles denizen Lou Bloom survives by scavenging and petty theft. He stumbles into a new career as a cameraman and, armed with a camcorder and a police scanner, begins nocturnal forays across the city in search of shocking and grisly crimes. When he catches the eye of a shop-worn news director, played by Rene Russo, who welcomes a chance to raise her station's ratings, Lou goes to increasingly greater lengths to catch the money shot. This is written and directed by Dan Gilroy, which is also his directorial debut. Dang.
Did a good job.
It stars Jake Gyllenhaal as Lou Bloom, Rene Russo as Nina, Bill Paxton as Joe Loader, and Riz Ahmed as Rick. This has a runtime of 117 minutes. It was released at the Toronto International Film Fest on September 5th, 2014, and released everywhere in the States on October 31st, 2014. Spooky Halloween movie. Spooky Jake Gyllenhaal movie. What'd you think? What were your thoughts?
I really like this movie.
This is such a good movie.
It's really fucking good. Everything from like the score to Jake Gyllenhaal to like the writing and the cinematography and the action scenes too. Like it's just like, oh man, it hits everywhere.
I'm blown away that this is a directorial debut.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like the shots were incredible. So many frames and still you're like, I've never seen that before. Why are they doing that? It's so cool. Yeah. And they set up the atmosphere really well. Jake Gyllenhaal is a reptile man. He does a great job. It's just such a good film. I could throw this on any day.
Yeah. And you would enjoy it because it's not like necessarily too, high concept of a drama to like, you know, be bored in or tune out or just be like, oh, this is too much for me right now. Like it still has like enough, I think, mainstream appeal that just can keep you interested for the whole, however many minutes it is,
117.
117. Yeah. It didn't feel too long too.
Nope. It felt paced really well. It's like when you get to the end, it's more abrupt than you might realize.
Yeah, exactly. We've also seen, actually, so Dan Gilroy is his name, right? The director and the writer?
Yes.
Okay. He was a writer long before this movie, but he also has like kind of a family of filmmaking people. We've actually watched his brother's directorial debut.
Oh.
Michael Clayton.
Oh.
Tony Gilroy.
Wow. Yeah. This was the better one by a lot.
They wrote and directed Michael Clayton, and both of their brothers, so they're brothers, but they have a third brother, edited both this movie and Michael Clayton.
Wow.
And does other stuff for them too, but like, kind of in the family.
Go Gilroys.
Yeah. Speaking of in the family, one more fact. Sorry, I'm stepping on your toes.
I'm interested.
He's actually married to Rene Russo.
Oh, wow. What do you know? Was that before or after filming?
During.
Oh.
So not like, okay, so it didn't happen during, but sorry, before, yes. Before. I should have answered your question instead of just saying during.
Do you want to just get flying into that plot summary?
Sure. We open on a quiet Los Angeles night where Lou Bloom, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, cuts at some fence to steal the wire. He is caught by a security guard, and after trying to weasel his way out of the encounter by saying he got lost, Lou notices the man works for a private outfit and has a nice watch, so Lou attacks him and steals it. Lou drives to a scrapyard and bargains with the owner of it to sell his stolen metal. The owner, knowing their stolen goods, sets a price that Lou eventually settles on to, quote, establish a business relationship. Lou then pitches himself for a job, giving us the first sense of his kind of hustler nature, but the owner won't give a job to a thief. And there's actually such an interesting interaction here.
It is.
Because like when the owner tells him that he's not going to give him a job because he's a thief, he doesn't leave angrily. He's like, that's a good point. Like he basically gives this expression like, oh yeah, you wouldn't give a job to a thief. Because like,
fair call.
I think this character, like the entire way through, clearly he's absorbing everything because he is a sociopath. Like he has like no sense of human emotion, but he's like picking up everything from everyone. And that's why he's got like all this online business knowledge persona type of thing and this rehearsed like pitch for himself at this guy's place. So when somebody gives him that piece of advice, like he doesn't take it in like a negative way, like, oh, you won't give me this job, you're an asshole. Like he's like, that's a good point. I shouldn't ask for jobs for people that I'm selling stolen goods to.
Putting that one in the bank, I shouldn't hire thieves either. He just sounds like the absolute, if you distilled every business TED Talk into one person with absolutely no human emotion or way to interact with people in a normal manner.
Yeah.
It's Lou.
Lou.
He is an algorithm that watched 10,000 hours of TED Talks on business things and then became a human afterwards.
Lou leaves, and on the road back, he encounters a car crash. He pulls over to have a closer look when a pair of Nightcrawlers / stringers, as they're called, pull up and start filming. Lou is fascinated and begins asking one of them, Joe Loader, played by Bill Paxton, who is also really fucking good in this movie, about the work. Lou asks for a job from him, but Joe also declines. The next morning, Lou looks for the story on TV and sees Joe's footage. Lou decides that this is his next pursuit, so he hits up the beach, steals a racing bike, and flips it for some cash, a camera, and a police scanner. With his new gear, Lou hits the town and tries to film. He's pretty shit at it to start, but finally he comes across a shooting victim. Someone is already there filming, but Lou gets right up in the face of the victim, getting a better shot. The police tell him to back off and lump the other man filming in as well. As the other Nightcrawler is walking away and frustrated, Lou listens in to how they sell it to their network before going to the KWLA news station. He meets Nina there and presents her the footage. Nina's impressed, and even though it's graphic, they make it their lead story. Lou tries to sell it for $1,000, but only gets $250, some advice, and a budding exclusive relationship. The next morning, Lou waits for his footage to appear on TV, and when it does, he rips it and saves it to a database. Lou spends the day learning police code before meeting Rick, a homeless man that he offers an internship to. Rick argues for some money and accepts Lou's offers for $30 a night. Riz Ahmed is also like a really good actor too.
Oh yeah.
And like he's been nominated for Best Actor now, but like it's fun to see him in this small kind of timid role too.
Yeah, because it's not a big part, and he kind of plays just like the same in every scenario where he's just like the scared guy being driven around by a fucking maniac.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of like the audience surrogate in a way because like he's reacting to how Lou is handling situations the same way that we kind of are. They go out that night, and after a while of waiting for something good, they find a good call. Rick doesn't navigate properly, resulting in them getting there too late to get any footage. Lou kind of chews him out for that, but he does it in also a very TED Talky way.
Yeah, without ever
communication.
Like, there's no way he's had to reprimand someone before because he does it in a batshit insane way. Yeah. But like even the interview when he was talking to Rick, he does it in a weird, like the questions he asks.
Yeah.
Like, do you trick? And other weird questions that I would not expect to be answering on a job application when he never told Rick what the job was until after he offered it to him.
And like Rick's literally homeless. Like he does not have a place of residence, and he tells Lou that. And so I think Lou just maybe knows that he can take more advantage of him.
Absolutely.
But like I'm happy that Rick kind of just is like, I need some money, man. And like he does actually come around later and kind of grow some more confidence with Lou. We'll get to that. Yeah. So after Lou chews Rick out, they go to another scene where a shooting has taken place. And even though it seems like the police have shut it all down, Lou manages to enter the home and films the interior, capturing the bullet holes and even rearranging pictures on a fridge for maximum effect. This is like one of those first like small changes that he makes that's like, and he breaks into the house. Yeah. But so like you can see just how like far his ethics go. Like he's not ethical at all. Like,
and like I think this is the point where it maybe if someone had noticed him in the house and told him to get out or threatened to arrest him, maybe he corrects the behavior. Yeah. But it never goes punished like other things do because he learns really quick when he is filming that first victim and gets too close and gets booted off. He never makes that mistake again. But because there's been no punishment for going into this house, touching an active crime scene, leaving his fingerprints everywhere and like rearranging stuff, he'll just keep doing it. He'll just be more bold about it.
Well, and he gets rewarded too because he brings this footage to Nina and she fucking eats it up. She loves it. Oh, that's a great piece of tape. Just like just the praise that he gets, like, and this is just feeding his ego and his desire to do more exactly like this. But anyways, so he does bring it to Nina. Frank, another employee at KWLA, identifies that the footage looks like he broke into their house.
Well, I mean, it looks like that because he did.
Despite this, Nina runs the story and praises Lou. The next morning, Lou saves news footage to his database, and we enter a montage. Here we see Lou continuing a good streak of news stories and watch as his gear gets better. At the end of the montage, Lou and Rick now drive a flashy red muscle car and have fancy new police scanners installed into it. The better car seems to be working out great as they arrive to a scene of a head-on crash even before the police. Lou gets a shot before he decides that it isn't gory enough, and so he drags the body of a dying man into better view, which, whew.
Yeah, that's ethically, that's entering the gray zone.
Yeah.
Some wouldn't do this. I also love that when Rick has to fuel up the car, he gets yelled at for getting some of the gas on the car when he gets paid $30 a night. And Lou just went and purchased a Mustang.
Literally, yeah. The police finally arrive along with Joe Loader, and Joe curses when he realizes that Lou was way ahead of them. Lou returns to KWLA, sells his footage, and blackmails Nina into going on a date with him. See, I told you guys this was a romantic movie. Perfect for Valentine's Day. Just blackmail someone into going out with you.
I love that when he asks her, she's like, "Oh, like I'm busy that night."
Yeah.
He's like, "No, you're not. You're off on Saturdays."
Yeah.
Like, oh, damn. Now where do you go? I mean, obviously you just say that you have social plans or something, but Nina doesn't even try that. No. So maybe she's willing to see this out and just be curious where that goes.
Yeah.
Because after that, it's very much like, I am going out with you and you have to go out with me or we're cutting it off.
Yeah. Like it gets really fucked.
Yeah.
Joe is waiting outside the station for Lou and gives him some advice before offering a job running his second van. Lou declines, which pisses Joe off immensely. I liked this line too because like Lou keeps like the same sort of demeanor basically the entire time. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously it's because he's emulating emotion or like not showing any emotion. And like he looks to Lou and he's like, what does he say?
It's like, I want to grab your ears.
Yeah, I want to grab you by the ears and scream in your face, I'm not fucking interested. But it's just the deadpan delivery that he does. And like you could see it on Bill Paxton's face how fucking pissed off he's getting, because this was like his big swing. Like he wants to get his competition like out of there, because Lou is like definitely taking sales away from him, I think.
Yeah, and Lou says every single line like he's introducing himself to someone for the first time.
Yeah.
He will never be anything other than like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Even when he's telling someone off, he's like, I would love to grab you by the ears and scream at you, but it's like you just met him. It's like, hey, I'm Lou. That's me. I'm a crazy guy.
At the blackmail dinner, Lou continues to blackmail Nina, this time into sex. It's not shown, but...
it's explicitly stated that that's going to happen, and then they reference back to it later.
Do, in like just such a gross way, too.
In the worst way.
I think I wrote the line, but oh my God.
The least appetizing lineup of words.
Yeah. Later, Lou and Rick arrive late to a plane crash after changing their mind on another story. When they arrive, Joe Loader is already there and tells Lou that his new van is already at the other side that they had to change. Lou comes to Nina with nothing, and Nina freaks out. Lou hates the negativity and screams into the mirror. Fucking iconic shot from this movie.
Great scene.
Yeah.
I got a little fun fact locked away for that one for later, too.
Okay, I'm excited, because that was just like the brief moment of like a break in this character, because like we were just talking about, like even when he's turning down Joe, like he's so calm and collected about it, and like, you know, he might change some inflection in his voice, but overall like he is basically stone cold. And then like this one moment where he gets like negativity, especially from Nina, who he like appreciates the praise from and has seemingly got only praise thus far, it just breaks him. And it also causes him to do some very horrible things.
Yeah, he's a bad man.
Yeah. Lou goes and tampers with Joe's van, kind of in a reaction of the negativity. That night, Joe crashes his van and Lou arrives at the scene with Rick to film it. Lou and Rick then get a call about a home invasion in progress, and they gun over. They once again arrive before the police, and Lou manages to film the people responsible for the shooting before they escape. Lou then goes into the house and films the carnage, including the groans of a dying man, before leaving just as the police finally arrive. Lou edits the footage and brings it to Nina. Nina loves it, but they have to figure out if they're breaking the law by showing it. They have to blur the faces, but they're going to run it.
And what's really awful is the main reason why there was question about the legality is that because the next of kin hadn't been notified.
Yeah.
So the way around that is to blur the face. But if you're just watching the news and you see like your parents' house and your parents with a blurred face, I think you can piece that one together.
Pretty much. Yeah. And like, it's like on the evening news, like it's like breaking story. Like they don't even wait for the next morning. Like
no, it's been
then
minutes.
And now. Yeah. Just crazy. Lou agrees to sell the footage of the triple homicide for less, but he starts making demands. From now on, he will be credited for his work by the anchors as his creatively titled company, Video Production News, a professional news gathering service. He wants to build relationships with the other people at the station. And he also wants to forego price negotiations. And of course, we talked about this, but worst of all, he wants Nina to do the things that he asks her to when they're alone together in their apartment, not like the last time.
God. Oh God. It's like you heard about someone having to eat 100 slugs. You didn't see it happen, but just knowing that it did is bad enough.
Yeah. And like, fucking again, I can't sing enough praise about Jake Gyllenhaal here, because he knows he has the upper hand. Like, and it just brings her down. Oh my God. Great writing too. Fuck.
It is. It's masterful.
To soften the deal, Lou offers to throw in Joe's crash for free. This works, and the next thing we see is Nina introducing Lou around the office in just the manner he asked to be.
Which, that company, alongside him being the distillment of every TED Talk video, that is the distillment of every possible name for the company until you just get the three things that overlap, which is just like video, news, production. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd think he would get a little more creative than that, but...
especially because there's no way that was on the spot. He's probably been thinking about that name the entire time he's been doing this, and that was plan A.
Yep. The news rolls to Triple Homicide Live and credit Video Production News. The police take interest in whoever shot the footage and arrive at Lou's apartment as he's flipping through all the channels covering his story. The detectives ask for a copy of the video, and Lou has already cut them one, anticipating their arrival. Lou doesn't reveal to the detectives much about the murderers, telling them that he couldn't make out their faces and doesn't have the footage. Right after they leave, Lou reviews the footage that he does have of the murderers.
Showing their faces.
Yeah. Does a quick Google of the license plates and heads out to get Rick once he has all the details he needs. Lou tells Rick about his plan, which Rick is skeptical about, but Lou promotes Rick and tells him that he can pick his raise. Rick picks a low number, only $75 a day, and knows that he could have picked more. This is a good bit of like Riz Ahmed too, because he's like going through like in his head, like 75.
Yeah,
Lou's just like,
he talks himself out of $100. He negotiates against himself, and then like once he's settled that with his own number, then he tries to do it with Jake Gyllenhaal.
And Lou's just such a bitch about it too, and he's like, deal. He's like, I could have got more money, couldn't I have? Yep. Well, can we talk about this? Not now. Deal's cut.
I once was in a job negotiation where they asked me what I wanted for pay, and I said a number, and they said yes, and I'm like, oh no. I could have asked. If they're not even bothering, I messed up. So I really felt for Rick here, who really shot himself in the foot.
Yeah, there's like so many ways that you could go about that. Lou probably knew this too. That's probably why he asked Rick to pick his wage, because he knew that Rick would probably pick a lower wage than he was willing to pay.
Absolutely.
Because like if $75 a day, and we can anticipate that Lou, is now making probably thousands of dollars a night with how many pieces he's getting. He's basically just keeping Rick along. Like,
and Rick has the leverage of that. Lou has told him his plans to break the law many times, and has already broken the law.
Yeah.
If Rick was a suave negotiator, he'd be like, how about the number I ask for is 911, and I tell the police you've been withholding information and are about to do this stupid thing.
Yeah.
Oh well, next time, Rick.
Rick and Lou arrive at the house of one murderer, and Lou reveals his plan to wait until they arrive at a better, more populated place for them to film their arrest. Rick doesn't like it and demands more money. Lou tries to negotiate him out of it, but Rick has the upper hand, like you just said, knowing all the criminal activity, and Lou promises him half of the $50,000 reward for finding the murderers. Did you ever believe that this was going to actually happen? Like that he was actually going to give him the money?
No, especially the way that Lou said, you will get half of any money we make tonight is so easily manipulated into he will, in the perfect scenario where they get the full reward for what happens, he will find a way to weasel out of it and be like, well, actually, it came the next day.
Yeah.
So that Rick didn't work out the terms very well, but there's no way it was going to happen.
No, absolutely not. One of the murderers hits the road and Lou and Rick follow them. The murderer picks up the other murderer and they go for some Chinese food. When they finally settle down at the restaurant, Lou calls the police, telling them that the murderers are armed, even though he doesn't know for sure. Lou directs Rick to go down the street to film. Rick objects, but does it after Lou literally threatens him
with
bodily
physical violence.
The police finally do arrive, and after a tense moment, shots start to fly. One of the murderers manages to get away, and Rick and Lou chase after them. They weave and dangle through traffic while filming until finally the murderer's car and the police car that were in pursuit flip and crash. Lou gets out of the car and examines the scene. He tells Rick to come over and get a shot of the murderer in his car, claiming that he's already dead. But the guy is in fact not dead and shoots Rick several times as Lou films. The rest of the police finally arrive at the scene and shoot the murderer, and Lou films a dying Rick before taking his camera back. Lou brings the footage to Nina, who is floored and is willing to pay Lou whatever he wants. The detectives arrive at the scene demanding the footage to be pulled. Nina retaliates that it is the news station's property, and the detectives go and arrest Lou. Frank brings up to Nina that the family that was murdered were actually members of a drug ring and that they want to change the story, but Nina declines. At the police station, Lou tells the detective that the murderers had tracked him down after seeing his footage. He tells her that they followed him, and after he managed to evade the murderers, he called the police. The detective has him pegged, but Lou sticks to his story, and since she has no evidence to the contrary, he's allowed to go. Nightcrawler finally finishes with Lou now having 2 trucks and 3 interns who he tells, I would never ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do myself.
Bullshit.
That's a great line too,
that
because
so
like
good.
Like we've seen this entire movie what he's willing to do himself.
Yeah,
and so these interns are fucked.
Doing half the things he's willing to do is still breaking many laws.
Yeah,
Also, when he tells Rick to go down the street to film the restaurant and says, it's much more dangerous to be in the car. No, it's not. One of you is standing out in the open with a giant video camera, and one's in your vehicle where it's harder to see that.
Yep.
It's way more dangerous for Rick.
Yeah. And like, what a sad moment for Rick. I completely expected, obviously I've seen this movie 3 times now, but like even in the theater, I kind of expected something to go wrong.
Yeah.
And then Nina, when like her reaction to the footage is just like so expected and like almost like a weird interaction because she's so like enamored with the footage. Yeah. That I think she like gets fucking turned on or something by Lou.
It had to have been because it's like it's a close proximity, long hold. Their voices are just dropped a little bit. It's kind of like whisper tones to each other, and it's just kind of talking about how good this will be for their careers, pretty much, because they are physically in what some could consider a relationship, even though it's clearly blackmail, but also businessly they're in a relationship where they kind of rely on each other to do anything. So like this is their lives now. They both need each other more than they could afford if anything happened to this. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like Lou clearly doesn't need Nina per se, because like he does claim that he got offered from another news station, which like we don't actually know if that's the case because we didn't see it. Yeah. But you could imagine that the other news stations would want an exclusive relationship with the person that's captured these last 2 stories. Because like the story of him basically breaking into the house of the murder scene, like that was across all the other news stations. And so they had to credit the other news station and video production news to get it. And so I'm sure they wanted that relationship, but Nina needs Lou more than Lou needs Nina.
Yeah. But Lou wants Nina.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for business. It doesn't hurt, but for her.
Well, and I think he knows that he's got like a grip on her. Like he basically has her in the palm of his hands because like I don't mention this in the plot, but basically the news station, she leaves like a news station every 2 years. It's getting to that point where it's probably review time and they're like the lowest rated station in LA. And so she's probably going to get cut if, you know, ratings don't go up. And Lou's stories are the reasons that she's getting better ratings and more attention. And so if she doesn't continue this relationship with Lou, then like she's likely going to get fired or have to move to a different station. And she doesn't want to do that.
No.
And so this relationship, it's a mutualistic relationship, but like it gets to the point where Lou just has so much control over Nina.
Yeah. It becomes just an abusive, manipulative relationship where she is stuck and is now reliant on Lou, who just abuses her for her body.
Yeah. I think Jake Gyllenhaal acts circles around everybody in this movie.
It's like absolutely.
Yeah. Like he is just like so fucking good. Yeah. And like everyone else is like holds their own. They're all like really good actors. Like Bill Paxton does a really good job. It was strange the way he says bruh. Like he says bruh like constantly. I'm sure that's how it was written, but like it's just funny to see.
It is funny. It's a good ad, if nothing else.
And like Rene Russo has some good moments, and like obviously she's spending a lot of time with Lou. Same with Riz Ahmed, but like he kind of also has that sort of somewhat one note. Like you do see his confidence start to grow a little bit as he does get good at this. And like he also gets encouraged by Lou's praise too, because Lou does praise him and he's like, I've seen your growth. Like you've been doing well. Like I think you have a serious future here. And like when he promotes him and he's like, yeah, man, like I've been trying. You can really see that that's something that he's been looking for, like some kind of praise and accomplishment, but then just to end so poorly. It's just,
I will say that was probably the one thing that I did not love about this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't think Rick's dying scene was that good.
No, yeah.
They just kind of talk until he closes his eyes.
Yeah.
And I wish they kind of went for a more brutal death for Rick.
Yeah.
Because like it's a good way to do it. Like it is well done in that like the gunshots and him dying is still like impactful. But if it was like something kind of violent or more drawn out, I think it could have a greater impact.
Yeah, because like there's the I don't know if it was a death scene, but the injury scene with Joe Loader, that was impactful in itself. And there was no lines.
Yeah.
Because it's just like a moment where they're pulling Joe into like a stretcher. You see his neck is in like a brace and his face is just bloodied. And all you see is his eyes looking up at the camera. And then the camera just pans down to Lou's face, just fucking like looking down on him and imagining like how Joe might feel in that moment to be like on the other side of that and for it to be his like main rival, that was so powerful. It was such a good moment. But then like the opposite is kind of the case with Rick's, because they had the dialogue. And I think you're right. I think it might have been more impactful in a different sense if it was more violent. Like it would have been better maybe if they did the same thing in a way where they like shot him in the neck or something and he's like bleeding out and can't even talk.
Yeah.
And then Lou just comes down and basically says the same things like, I couldn't risk having you on. You took away my bargaining power. I'm sorry, but like it's kind of just business to him, right?
Yeah.
Like he has no empathy whatsoever for anybody, including this person that he's worked with for months at this point. And so like if he had not said anything, that would have been maybe even better.
I think it would have balanced it out a bit more, because he just kind of talks for a bit. His lines don't add a lot. Like the weight is what Jake Gyllenhaal's saying to him anyways. Yeah. So you can leave that in. You could even just have it silent. Just him filming his dying body, picking up the camera and leaving. And that also would have been really cool.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah. Shit.
But other than that, damn, what a movie.
I really like this movie.
You know who else liked this movie?
Oh, critics and audiences?
Critics and audiences around the world.
Oh, wow.
If you had to venture a guess, what are you thinking people are feeling about this particular flick?
I think it's like a 90 type critics, maybe high 80s audiences. So 93, 94 critics, 89 audiences?
Very close. 95.
Oh,
critics.
Wow. That's
86 audience.
Okay.
I'm assuming 14% of the audience was just too spooked. It was just too good, too real.
Too spooky.
Yeah, too scary. IMDb is giving it a 7.8.
Wow.
And Metacritic, a 76. It's pretty good for Metacritic.
That's pretty good for Metacritic.
Also pretty good for a wallet. It made $50.3 million on a budget of $8.5 million.
Wow.
That's pretty good return.
Yeah, pretty conservative budget actually too, for what they managed to pull off.
For the amount of filming that they did in LA streets too, because I imagine it's quite pricey to shut things down to film on them.
Well, yeah, especially for like the action scenes and the chase scenes that they did.
Yeah.
But I guess they also did it all at night, so maybe it was easier to do. But then like Jake Gyllenhaal himself, like he's a hot actor, you know, physically and
in many ways, in several directions.
So like, I'm wondering if he just like really connected with it and took a maybe less money, but
I imagine. But yeah, 8.5 million to make this, and that's a good return as well.
That is a really good return.
It's enough return to launch it to 125 at the box office for that year. It's not bad.
No, it's not bad. But I mean, like, we're getting at a point now, like there's going to be a huge contrast this year to last year where like some of the movies we're going to talk about are going to be deep into that worldwide because they are like smaller films in a sense, and movies are so much bigger nowadays that like we're going to see that kind of discrepancy. So that doesn't actually surprise me that it was so low.
Also, like inflation is a factor at this point. It's been long enough that like it's actually going to have some kind of tangible effect on our perception of the numbers. You want to get into our scores?
Sure. Let's do it.
Right. Kyle, what are you thinking that you would like to give this movie for your enjoyment?
Yeah. Shit, I'm scared. I don't know.
No, don't be scared. Give it what you feel.
Yeah.
Don't hold back just because it's the first movie of the year. Season. Year. Both.
Same.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go 4.5.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, hell
I'm also tossing down a 4.5 for this. It hit. Every scene hit. Yeah. There was never a moment where it wasn't clicking.
There was like a time where, and this might just be because I've rewatched this a couple times, where I remember where it was going. And so when it wasn't there yet, I was kind of like, where are we going? And that might have mildly affected my enjoyment of it. But like, it's still such an enjoyable film to watch.
Yeah. In my opinion, if you tighten up that ending, it's pretty easy to take this to 5 zone for me.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing where it's like, well, they left something on the table there.
And like those ending scenes too, like the one in particular where they're outside the restaurant, so tense.
Oh, yeah.
And like just kind of because you're at like a voyeuristic view, right? Which is the same view that they're filming at. And like when you see the guy like pull the gun out and put it onto the table, and then like you watch the cops walk in, like they did a really good job with the tension in that scene.
Yeah. Oh, it's so well crafted. The whole movie has the right tension at every point.
Okay.
Kraft single slice.
I mean, honestly, I didn't know that it was such a low budget. And so for what they managed to do, I'm very impressed. I think I'm also going to go 4.5.
I'm also thinking 4.5.
Oh,
We're going to be starting off with a pretty big agreement here, and that's okay because this is a movie that we don't need to be split on.
Mm-hmm.
Execution.
This is actually 5 for me.
Yeah, this is
honestly, on the shoulders of Jake Gyllenhaal and the writing,
yeah,
like it just hits, like everything.
It's just no one pulls it down.
Mm-hmm.
At worst, you're doing exactly what you need to do for this movie. So like, there's no blemishes on it.
No.
I'm also gonna give that a 5.
Nice.
Rewatch ability.
I think I'm gonna go 4.5.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah, like this is. I don't even know what's bringing it down, but something in me is feeling like it's not like a full 5 rewatch.
Yep. That's also where I'm sitting. I think I'm gonna slap this down at a 4.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's because of how well done it is and how heavy it is. I'm not ready to rush right back into this. I kind of need a little buffer zone before I'm ready to watch Jake Gyllenhaal's eyes for another couple hours. But that's not even really a knock on the movie.
No.
It's just like, it was so well done that I'm creeped. I'm spooked. If I'd watched this on Halloween, whew, you have nightmares. Yeah. Well, Kyle, you have given this an 18.5 out of 20 for a 93%.
Yeah.
I have given this an 18 out of 20 for a 90%.
Damn.
Kyle, where do you think this is going to go on your ranking for the season of 2014?
Well, there's one film that I know we're going to talk about that's going to go number 1, so I'll probably put it number 2 for now. No, I'm fucking. It's going to go number 1. What else do we got?
Where else is it going to go? This, for me, this is actually my last place. This is the worst movie that we've had to endure so far. So I'm dropping this all the way to the bottom at number 1. Tune in next time for it's going to be hard for it to be number 1. It's probably going to be 2 number 2s, but yeah, well.
It's kind of nice being back here. Back to a point where like it's simple, you know?
There's no hard calls.
Yeah.
I remember not struggling in last season until like Train Spotting was the first tough call to make, and that was kind of deep.
Yeah.
Well, now that we've got that arduous task out of the way, are you ready for some fun letterbox reviews?
Oh, yeah.
This is another benefit of being in the year 2014 is the letterbox reviews. There's a trove of them. They really, in number, jump up there because for some of those 1996 films, it's hard. There was not a lot of reviews. I'm willing to bet for the majority of these, it's just oodles of them.
Oh yeah, and I'm excited.
So this one, I didn't even get to go through all of them. I went till I found 4 that I really liked and then stopped there because I could have been hours.
Good call.
This is from Nice Guys at 4 stars. In loving memory of Jake Gyllenhaal. He ain't dead, but the Academy keeps treating him like he is.
Oh my God, I fucking know.
I know.
This pisses me off so much.
And that is going to launch into part of this movie snub.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Like, not even nominated?
Not even a
what
nom.
The fuck?
Insanity.
I'm so, anyways, preview to 24 weeks from now.
Yeah. Also
what
to like
fuck?
5 minutes from now when we get into the awards and that's not on there.
Yeah.
But also for that, where this is going to be one of the notes that we'll be sending the Academy afterwards.
Yeah. Just a personal letter.
Yeah. Why? Sophie, 5 stars. The only reason Jake wasn't nominated for an Oscar is because he's just like this anyways.
I mean, I hope not. My God.
I imagine if this was the real Jake Gyllenhaal, he just sleeps like standing straight up in a closet every night. And then in the morning, he just opens it up and steps out. I love movies. 0.5 stars. He didn't crawl. He walked.
Argument could be made that he drove a lot.
There was a lot of things. He never crawled. I don't think anyone crawled in this movie.
No, I don't.
Don't remember any crawling.
Nope.
A lot of night though, so they made up for it with that. First name, last name, also 0.5 stars. And I will note a like. Very stupid. I hated every part, but especially Jake Gyllenhaal. He stinks.
Jeez. Come on.
First name, last name. He was great. This is a solid movie.
Was that the review of every member of the Academy?
Oh, Jake Gyllenhaal. He smells bad. I will note that in the reviews, there was a lot of high reviews and then a lot of 0.5 stars hating Jake Gyllenhaal. Sunk. Curious.
You know why?
Why? Is this Taylor Swift
Taylor
related?
Swift thing.
I think some of these were from before, but
okay.
I don't know how old that feud goes because maybe when they first broke up, maybe the Swifties were mad then as well.
Yeah.
But they're definitely mad on the release of Red Taylor's version.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like this year. So I don't know. I didn't check. I forgot to check the dates on these. But yeah,
maybe they went
chunk.
back and just like spammed it.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. Jake Gyllenhaal treated her like that. Time to review bomb the fuck out of this guy. Maybe that's why he never got an Oscar nom. Big Swifties in the Academy.
They went back in time.
Well, speaking of the Academy, what do you think this had for its award details? What would it be polling?
I mean, in an ideal society, it would have been Jake Gyllenhaal for Best Actor.
Yep.
However, apparently we're not living in the ideal society.
Nope.
We are in fact living in a society.
A nightmarish hellscape without that Jake Gyllenhaal nomination.
I confess I did see this one. It was Best Original Screenplay.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yep. That was all it got when it probably could have got a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more.
However, not a bad nom.
Nope. Still good. And again, directorial debut for Mr.
Dan
Gilroy, Dan of the Dan variety, of the Dan trio. Other than the Academy, everyone else loved it. It was nominated for Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama for Jake Gyllenhaal at the Golden Globes. Didn't love it enough though because he lost. And if you go to the awards details, it's pages. Every small little thing was either nominating this or giving it some wins. So it is a massively decorated movie outside of the Academy Awards. They hate Gyllenhaal. Any shockers there other than that massive flub?
Yeah, just the massive flub.
Yeah, just that massive, gargantuan sized oversight. Otherwise,
I mean, cinematography and score are actually quite good.
They deserved it, in my opinion, at least nomination. Didn't have to win.
Yeah.
They should have got a nomination.
Yeah. Obviously, we're early. I have, however, seen a lot of the films we're going to talk about. Actually, I think I've seen most, if not all of the films we're talking about this season before. And so, like, it's been a while, but like this one did have pretty striking imagery and it's some cinematography, but nope.
Saving that for the rep.
Yep.
Interesting fact time. There's a couple of these, couple of decent ones. During the scene, this is the one that I referenced earlier. During the scene where Jake Gyllenhaal screams at himself in the mirror, Gyllenhaal got so into this improvised scene that the mirror broke, cutting his hand. He was driven to the hospital by the director after a 19-hour day of working and got 46 stitches in a 4-hour-long operation, only to return to the set 6 hours later. This is the reason why Gyllenhaal had his hand behind his back in the scene where he tells the scrapyard owner his motto, because he had a fuck ton of stitches.
Whoa.
Also, I guess that means it was shot in different order because that was like one of the first scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, now I'm thinking about it, his hand was held behind his back for no apparent reason. But it's because it was bandaged up because 6 hours previous to that, he was getting 40 plus stitches in his hand.
Jeez. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's insane.
Wow.
Good thing they didn't like mess up that take because he walked out of the bathroom into the hospital.
Wow. 46 stitches in a hand. Jeez.
I mean, glass does some damage, I guess.
Yeah.
More of the Gyllenhaal zone. Jake had lost 20 pounds for this role. This was Gyllenhaal's own idea as he visualized Lou as a hungry coyote. To create Lou's gaunt appearance, Jake Gyllenhaal worked out for up to 8 hours a day and ran or cycled to set every day. So he went hard in the paint for this one.
I was wondering if this was going to be one of your facts, because another nice thing about talking about more modern movies is there's so many video essays on YouTube. And so like I'm able to like go in and watch a bunch, and like one of the ones like mentioned this that Jake lost weight and like he imagined himself as like a hungry coyote.
Yeah.
It paid off, honestly.
Absolutely.
Like he looked like the weight loss, it fit the character.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what that character should look like. Kind of add-ons to that I didn't actually write down. But the coyote theme became so reoccurring in the movie that was almost the name and tagline.
Oh, wow.
But they stuck with Nightcrawler, obviously, because that's what it's called right now.
Yeah.
Well, more in the Gyllenhaal zone. Despite receiving nominations for Best Actor at the Golden Globes, BAFTAs, SAG, Critics' Choice Awards, Independent Spirit Awards, and even the Saturn Awards, Jake Gyllenhaal failed to receive an Academy Award nomination. Critics, audiences, major film groups, and publications considered this a major snub. So did we, apparently.
Yeah.
He is only one of 8 actors this has ever happened to.
Wow.
Yeah.
That hurt me when you went through that list.
It's a long list.
Literally all of the major awards.
Everything.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
That sucks.
And last one, out of the Jake Gyllenhaal zone, Apparently, Riz Ahmed, who plays Rick, was unfamiliar with Bed Bath & Beyond and pronounces it weirdly at the red light scene because he just didn't know what that place was.
Cool.
There's a quote here. Someone corrected him, and every take he did where he spoke it right, it was not nearly as good, so they stuck with the first one.
That's funny. I mean, Riz Ahmed's English, so
yeah.
I guess they don't have it in England?
I guess not.
Cool.
They only have bed and bath there. They don't dream big enough. Bed Bath, wait a minute, and Beyond? That's everything. That's all I got for my fun details.
Those are good details.
Yeah, good times.
Except the ones that hurt my feelings, which
is a lot of them.
Yeah, do you have any other final thoughts on Nightcrawler?
No, it's a good movie. I always say no and then give one more.
Yeah.
So, nope, I don't have any more thoughts on it. It's a great movie that I recommend people go watch.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of good stuff that you can find. Like I mentioned, like there's a lot of video essays on this movie on YouTube, and I recommend you go look at it because there's some really interesting stuff. I watched one that was about basically his sociopathic tendencies and like analyzing him as a sociopath. And then like just an interview with Dan Gilroy, like how he's writing it and like how they had these two stringers that they actually went out with, Jake and Dan and Riz Ahmed. They went out with these two stringers. And like they actually went to real crashes and filmed them with them.
Oh my God.
And just before the movie actually started filming. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff. So
oh, that reminds me of their fun fact.
Yeah.
The two stringers, those guys that they're hanging out with, they had a small cameo in the movie when Lou and Rick are too late to the building fire. They're the last two stringers that walk out and say something like, let's go. Or something like that. I think that's all they have. But they're in there. So they make like a 2-second appearance where they walk past them and then say like, we're out of here. And then they're gone.
Yeah. No, it's a good movie.
Solid movie.
Honestly, and a good start to this season. Like we're already coming out here with fucking like 90 and 93%
starting strong.
Yeah. And it is going to be a lot of that this season. I think it's going to be a tough time.
It will be. There's not going to be as much of like a whatever middle pack. It's all going to be strong emotions to these movies.
Yep. Well, I want to thank you guys for listening to episode 1 of season 2 of Snubs and Dubs. As always, you can find us everywhere on social media at Snubs and Dubs. That's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Letterboxd, etc. We're also on Good Pods, so make sure to check us out there and join our official Discord. We would love to hear your thoughts on Nightcrawler or on this episode, so please send us a tweet, a message with a question, recommendation, or anything else. I'm also at Kyle Tobiasson on Twitter, and Jason is at Wendy_Mills. Of course, all those links are going to be in the show notes. Make sure to leave a 5-star review and share the show, and check back next week for another episode. Here's a sneak peek of the film we're going to talk about.
All right, let me get this straight. A man in a kabuki mask attacked you with an army of miniature flying robots.
Microbots? Baymax, tell him.
Yes, officer.
Microbots?
Yeah, he was controlling them telepathically with a neurocranial transmitter. Come on!
I am not fast.
Yeah, no kidding! Go, 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 go!
That's right. Next time we're talking about Big Hero 6, so make sure to watch before next episode. It'll be on Disney+. Can't wait for you guys to hear it. Thanks for listening. That's a wrap.
Bye for now.
Bye.